My name is Brad Hagan. I'm currently an associate professor at the University of Lethbridge in their School of Health Sciences. The way we set up the educational videotape series is the most likely scenarios that students would have to encounter. The first thing we want to show students is some of the common errors or some of the small, subtle mistakes that students might make when they first try working with these people. So we thought it'd be really helpful just for students to maybe see themselves as novice students and some of the things they might run into problems with. And then the second thing we'll see is a second scenario where we see a more expert or a more proficient nurse and some of the skills, the advanced skills that he or she might bring to that scenario. In this vignette, you're going to see some nurses working with a client who's experiencing mania. Mania is essentially the up phase of a condition called manic depression, which includes both depression, which is the down phase, and extreme energy and very high mood, which is the up phase. Nurses working with these clients can find these clients quite challenging for a number of reasons. Persons with mania experience a number of things with this condition. Not all people will experience such things as a decreased need for sleep, increased energy, and some other things which can cause some real difficulties in their life, such as overinflated sense of their importance. They may get involved in very risky business ventures. Some of them may become what's called hypersexual, which just means they sometimes enter into inappropriate sexual or romantic relationships. And often this person's experience of this condition can be very, very chaotic and very upsetting. Nurses working with these people face the challenge of working with someone who perhaps doesn't have much judgment. In the first vignette, you're going to notice a nurse who's visiting a woman by the name of Mrs. Kitchener. She's doing a home visit for Mrs. Kitchener's care. You'll notice in the vignette that Mrs. Kitchener is suffering from extreme mania, and you'll see the novice nurse struggle with how to maintain control over this home visit. In the second vignette, you'll notice the nurse making the home visit, the more expert or proficient version, is using a lot more advanced skills and more of her confidence to maintain control over this difficult home visit. You'll also notice she makes an important follow-up telephone call after the home visit with Mrs. Kitchener.
Well, it's about goddamn time someone showed the hell up. I don't know what I would have done if there had been a real emergency and I'd been bleeding half to death. You know, you think that after a person calls 6 or 8 or 20 times, you people would kind of get the message that someone needs some help. And I don't mean yesterday. I almost left, you know, because maybe you have all the time in the world, but I've got lots of places to go and all kinds of clients to keep happy. But I guess you don't really care about all that, do you? Well, come on in. Let's get this done as fast as we can. Wow, those are gorgeous earrings you have there. Did you get those as a present from your husband? Can I take a look? God, are those small little diamonds on the ends? My God, they're absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you. They're my birthstone diamonds. I'm really sorry about being late.
Diamonds? That must mean you're a Taurus. Oh, my God. My first husband was a Taurus, and there's just no getting through to you Tauruses. Taurus the bull, that's what I always used to tell him, because all he ever spouted off was complete bullshit as far as I was concerned. And bossy? You wouldn't believe how bossy he could be. And that's not the half of it. The worst of it is how stubborn Tauruses are. And even if they know they're in the wrong, they just keep digging in their bullheaded little heels and keep picking for a fight. So let's just get one thing perfectly clear. There'll be no Taurus kind of stunts while you're here. And if you're going to be as stubborn as a Taurus, you might as well just take your little bag and take you and your little Taurus earrings and hit the road. Because I've had more than enough Taurus bullshit in my life. And I'm not going to take any more of that kind of crap from anybody anymore in my life.
Mrs. Kitchener, I won't be stubborn. If we could...
Oh, my God. Here I am going on about you and my ex-husband. I don't even know you. You're probably thinking, what kind of a fruitcake is this woman going on with all this Taurus nonsense? I am terribly, terribly sorry. Here you are just trying to do your job, and I'm going on and on about nonsense. Please, come in. Have a seat. Just don't mind the boxes. All these boxes are my inventory. I've been up all night the last couple of nights getting this inventory ready, but I just can't seem to get it organized the way it needs to be. I'm spent about $10,000 in the last month getting this inventory together for my mail order business. I'm selling antioxidants, which is going to be the next biggest movement in the whole healthcare system. And one of my ex-husbands, well, even though he was a jerk, knew how to tell when the next big business trend was coming in, and he knew this was going to be it. Oh my God, what am I going on about? You must be dying of thirst. It's got to be 100 degrees out there, hotter than Hades, as they say. What'll it be, Diet Coke? Well, looks like you watch your weight with a beautiful figure like that. My God, I used to have a figure like yours when I was your age. But you go through a couple of kids, couple of husbands, time takes its toll. So what'll it be, Diet Coke?
Oh, no, thank you, Mrs. Kitchener. I'm fine, really, but thank you for the offer. I mostly came just to see about your IV, which I can see you don't have anymore. We're going to have to restart that.
Look, my husband would kill me if he came home right now and found that I hadn't offered you something to drink. Because no matter what you say, you've got to be dying of heat with the sun burning down on a day like today like a furnace. He's always going on about how a person needs to drink 8 to 12 glasses of water. Can you believe it? I tried drinking that much water and I'd bloat up like a pig and get crabbier than hell. And besides, I don't think that normal tap water is all that good for you anyway. And I'm sure as hell not paying perfectly good money for that bottled water crap my husband thinks we should be drinking. No, Coke is my big thing. God, I just love this stuff. You know, they've got to put something else in this stuff other than caffeine and sugar to make it taste so amazing. Do you know they actually used to put cocaine in that stuff, and that's where it got the name Coke?
No, I didn't know that. Thanks. Mrs. Kitchener, about your arm, if I could maybe...
You know, that stupid thing. Listen, I don't know how the hell you expect anybody to get anything done with one of those things poking in their arm and wheeling around that stupid contraption everywhere you go. I mean, I don't have time to stay home like some kind of invalid hooked up to some needle and bag. I mean, look for yourself. Look how much inventory I have to move around to get ready for all the orders that are coming in. You just can't move this much inventory and be attached to some kind of stupid tubing and a needle. And besides, it burned like hell. I felt like I was being jabbed with one of my cigarettes. How come those things hurt so much? Well, it doesn't matter why they hurt so much. It hurt. And I couldn't get any work done around here. So I called you gals to come and take it out. But you were too busy driving around or whatever the hell you were doing, so I finally had to rip it out myself. Anyway, now that you're here, you might as well take this stuff and take it back wherever it is you came from, because I'm done with this thing. Besides, I don't have time to be sitting around here like some invalid. Like I told you, I've got clients to look after. Because I'm running this business that's taking off like you wouldn't believe. Have you ever heard of antioxidants? Oh, you're a nurse, so you should have. Do you know what they are? You know, I could really use some help in this business because it's taking off much faster than I originally expected, and a nurse would really help our sales team. What do you think? Are you interested? It's a great way to meet guys. I've met lots of available men through this business, except my husband doesn't always think it's such a great thing.
Mrs. Kitchener, I really need to look at your IV site in your arm. It looks like you've been worried about how you...
Look, Chickie, the thing is out and I'm done with it. And I don't want you looking at it or thinking you're going to poke another one of those things in my arm. You know what you people should be doing? Instead of giving people bags of these poisonous and toxic chemicals, you should be giving them natural ways to help boost their own immune system. Like these antioxidants I was telling you about. You know, you could make a lot of money coming in with me on something like this. How much did they pay you? Anyway, I could probably double that, you know.
Oh, Mrs. Kitchener, I'm not looking for another job, but I appreciate the offer. If I could please look at your IV site, I'm worried about how you pulled it out. It might be infected as we speak.
Don't go getting all cheeky with me. I'm not the one who took forever to get out here. If it hadn't been for you taking your sweet time to get out here, I wouldn't have had to yank the thing out by myself. You know, it was probably infected and septic, for all I know. I could have been having blood poisoning. Maybe that's why it hurt like hell. But I guess you were all too busy with the young, important patients to worry about some middle-aged hag who might be dying of blood poisoning.
Mrs. Kitchener, please don't get upset. I got here as fast as I could, and it didn't take 6 hours. We tell our clients that we'll try and get there within a 2-hour window. I'm sorry if it seemed like longer. And I'm really sure that your arm isn't infected, but if I could get a closer look, I could get a better idea.
I don't think you can tell an infected arm to hit you on the side of the head. I mean, how old are you anyway? Where'd you get your nurse's training?
Mrs. Kitchener, I think maybe we got off to the wrong start here. If maybe we could start over and try and make this visit work for the both of us.
Well, I have never been so insulted in my entire life. First, it takes you 6 goddamn hours to feel like showing up to look at my IV, which I've already had to rip out. Then you won't answer any of my questions. And now you're trying to blame me for a visit that you're screwing up. Furthermore, I have an important business to run while you're sitting there wasting my time and deliberately trying to make me angry. You know, I have clients all over Western Canada wanting to buy product from me that you probably don't even understand. You've probably cost me several $100s just by your incompetent bugling and not managing my IV properly. What's the name of your supervisor?
Mrs. Kitchener,
I said, what's the name of your supervisor?
Helen Rose.
Well, Mrs. Helen Rose is sure the hell gonna get a piece of my mind. You probably don't know this, but my husband is one of the attorneys for this health region, and we regularly sit down for dinner with John McKeskey and his wife. Do you know who he is?
Yes, he's the CEO of our health region.
You're goddamn right he's the CEO of this health region. And he and Mrs. Helen, what's her name, and the board of directors is gonna hear about you home care nurses and little Miss Jody, and how, while you're driving around having coffee, the wife for the attorney of the whole health region is having to rip her own IV from her infected arm because nobody seems to give a crap. You know, I don't think you know who you're talking to. In just a few weeks, when this inventory really starts to move, my investment of a couple $1,000s is going to make me and my husband more money than you will ever see in your life. Because this is just the start. Because Mr. McKeskey has been having talks with my husband, and he realizes that this is just the kind of business scheme that can help the health region out of their financial difficulties. And he has promised us 20% of anything the health region makes. That's 20% of millions and millions. So I don't think you'll be coming back to my house, because the security guards and the private security officers that are going to be in our huge house aren't going to let the likes of you anywhere near the place. And maybe you'll wish you considered good business dealings when you got them. Isn't that right?
Mrs. Kitchener, I'm really confused. What is it that you want to have happen here?
I'd like you to leave is what I'd like to have happen. Every minute I sit here wasting with you is hundreds of dollars of profit from clients in my pocket gone. I could be making business connections, but what am I doing? I'm trying to convince some incompetent nurse to get the hell out of my house. What do I have to do? Call the police? I'll call the police if that's what you'd like.
No, Mrs. Kitchener, you don't have to call the police. I'm leaving now. I will call one of the other nurses to follow up with you.
Yeah? Well, you can just forget about sending anyone else like you. Just forget it. Because if you or anyone else like you shows up, I will call the cops. And I'm going to call your supervisor. Don't you think I won't?
What they did was empower their employees. The result.
Well, it's about goddamn time someone showed the hell up. I don't know what the hell I would have done if this was a real emergency or if I'd been bleeding half to death. You know, you think that after a person calls 6 or 8 or 20 times, you people would kind of get the message that someone needs some help. And I don't mean yesterday. I almost left, you know, because maybe you have all the time in the world, but I've got lots of places to go and all kinds of clients to keep happy. But I guess you don't care about all that, do you? Oh, come on, let's get this done as fast as we can. Wow, those are gorgeous earrings you have there. Did your husband give you those as a present or something? Can I take a look? Oh, those small little diamonds on the end? My God, they're absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you, Mrs. Kitchener. I'm rather fond of them myself. Now, I actually came to see about your IV, which I see you don't have in anymore. Can we please sit down and talk briefly about what happened to your IV?
I'll goddamn tell you what happened to that stupid IV. Oh, here, I don't know where my head is. I'm being so rude and everything, not offering you a drink. I've got some gin and tonic. Wouldn't that be nice? A nice, tall gin and tonic. Oh, it must be 100 degrees out there, you poor thing. You must be dying of thirst. Here, I'll get you a nice, tall gin. That's what I'm going to have. Would you like some tonic, or would you prefer some other kind of mixer?
Actually, no, Mrs. Kitchener. I do not want a gin, but I would like a glass of water, please.
I wouldn't hear of it. What's with this water nonsense? I can see how hot and thirsty you are, and a gin and tonic is exactly what we both need. How's a girl supposed to survive in this heat? It ruins our hair, our skin. It's impossible not to look like crap on a day like today. Oh, God, I'm so sorry about all the clutter and mess, but I'm in the middle of starting my mail-order home business, and even though this is only the second week, the orders are just flooding in, and I don't know how I'll keep up with all this inventory that needs to go out, because I knew this business was going to be successful, but never in my wildest dreams did I know how the orders would just come flooding in like a tidal wave. And that doesn't include all the people who want to go into business with me now that they know how much money is in this thing. What's the matter, honey? Is your drink a little too strong? Did you want some more tonic in it? How about some crackers or something to go with it? I'll get you some more mixer and some crackers.
Actually, no, thank you, Mrs. Kitchener. Please, sit down.
Look, honey, I don't know what your problem is. That's expensive gin, you know. It's none of that cheap crap. I wouldn't pour you any of that cheap crap. That's Tanqueray Pure Extra Dry Gin. My ex-husband told me that Tanqueray gin is the best gin that you can get on the market.
Mrs. Kitchener, I do need to take a look at your IV site. I'm worried that your IV site might be infected, and I only have a few minutes to stay and visit with you, as I've got many other visits I have to make.
Oh, that's a fine how do you do. You take goddamn forever to get here, and now you're in some big mighty hurry to get out of here. And you won't drink the goddamn expensive gin I so nicely poured you. Just where exactly do you people learn your lack of manners and lack of caring? Forget the bloody client. They're nothing but a bloody nuisance.
Mrs. Kitchener, what time did you take out your IV?
What the hell do you care?
An hour ago? Yesterday?
About 2 or 3 this morning? I don't know. I couldn't sleep with that thing poking in my arm. And I was going all night trying to get this inventory ready to respond to some of the big orders that are coming in. I have got a hospital in Southern California, UCLA, I think, and they want me to provide their pharmacy with my antioxidants. It could mean a couple $100,000 US by the time it's all done.
So you took it out late last night? May I please just take a closer look at your IV site?
There's no goddamn way you're gonna look at that site. It's fine. I just rubbed it with some gin myself. Besides, if you wanted to see the IV so badly, you should have been here on time and not kept me waiting for hours and hours. Do you think a business like this runs itself? Somebody's got to take care of this business. I can barely keep up now with all the demands without having one of those things sticking out of my arm. Say, you don't know anyone who wants some part-time work, do you? Because I am really swamped keeping up with all these orders. Do you want some work? How much do they pay you an hour? I could probably double that. How much do they pay you anyway?
Mrs. Kitchener, you said you were up late last night. About how many hours of sleep do you say you've been getting in the last little while?
Sleep? My God, what's that? I don't have time for sleep. Do you see all these orders that need to be processed?
Well, an hour or two, maybe a night?
Well, that's about all I have time for, honey.
And how long have you been able to keep going with so little sleep? 1 week, 2, maybe more?
About 2 weeks. Ever since this business really started taking off. Hey, what are all the stupid questions for? What do you care about how much sleep I get? What business is it of yours? I thought you were so interested in this IV. Now you want to know all about my sleep?
Mrs. Kitchener, I realize that these questions might seem a little strange, but it helps me understand what you're going through. For example, I'm wondering how you're dealing with the strain of setting up this business. I mean, that must be quite a bit of pressure.
Oh, you're goddamn right, it's a lot of pressure. You see, I'm getting in at a time when the market for these antioxidants is about ready to explode.
So tell me about the pressure. Has it been affecting your moods lately?
My mood? Ha! How would it affect your mood? It makes me a goddamn bitch is what it does. But that's the price of success, eh? Besides, I only have to put in a couple more weeks before some of the big money really starts to roll in.
So it makes you a bitch. Tell me more about that. When you feel bitchy, do you ever feel sad or depressed? Do you ever feel blue?
Hell no! What's there to be sad about? I am finally on the verge of making it so big that I don't have to worry about money, ex-husbands, anything. Even having to put up with the likes of you. I'll be able to pay for hundreds of workers like you if I get sick again. But I'll be able to hire them and fire them as I see fit.
So you haven't been feeling sad or down lately?
No. I said no. Read my lips. No. If anything, I just get really pissed off at all the stupid bastards who are trying to jerk me around with business license, permits, custom declarations, food and drug people, yellow pages salesmen, graphic designers, and all the other jerks who are trying to take my money before I've had a chance to really make it big. You know, I've probably spent a couple $1,000s this week alone on all that bullshit. But hey, that's the cost of doing business. And hey, that's not the only thing. You should see some of the gorgeous guys I've been meeting through this business. I mean, I heard the business world was sexy, but I had no idea it would be like this. You should see the guy who's designing my website for me. I know I've spent way more on this website than I should have, but I just like to go back to his office to flirt shamelessly with him. I know he's probably not even half my age, but he's got these eyes to die for and this long black curly hair that, oh, you know, I think he's starting to get interested in me. Oh, and then there's the bank manager. What a jerk, but what a gorgeous jerk. I wouldn't mind sleeping with him for a loan if that's what it takes.
Mrs. Kitchener, I'm afraid I have to go now. As I'm late already for a number of other visits I need to make.
Oh, you don't like it when I start talking about sex, do you? Feeling like I'm some pathetic old woman in your eyes? Listen, you may think I'm some old dame, but I can turn more heads in a day than you will ever turn in your lifetime. Because real, raw, animal sexual energy doesn't come from the way you look. It comes from within, you know. It's that look from your soul that you give another person, and a desire and fire for life that can't be contained. And that's why everything's going so amazing with this business. Because business is all about sexual energy when you get right down to it.
Mrs. Kitchener, I would love to talk more about your business with you, but I'm late already for those other appointments.
Bullshit! Well, go already. It's not like I have all the time in the world to spend with the likes of you either. Oh, and tell those stupid people in your office to quit bugging me and to take me off whatever list they've got me on. And those drugs didn't do anything. And how the hell do they expect anyone to get better with one of those things sticking out of their arms?
Goodbye, Mrs. Kitchener.
Oh, wait, I didn't give you any business cards. Wait, just right here, wait a sec. Here. I'll take a whole stack of them and give them to all your other clients, because they shouldn't even be on those stupid drugs you people are giving them. They should be on antioxidants to help the body bolster its own immune system.
Thank you for the cards, Mrs. Kitchener, and thank you for your time. Goodbye.
Hey, don't forget to give those cards out. And call me if you want some work that pays better.
No plan.
Hi, Dr. Simpson? Hi, this is Jody McCormick. I'm a home care nurse, and I was visiting one of your patients today, Mrs. Lorraine Kitchener. Do you remember her? Right. I was calling to give you some information about Lorraine. I'm quite worried about her since my visit with her this morning. Well, I went in to assess her home IV therapy. You had ordered up some home antibiotic therapy for her. Well, when I got there, Lorraine had already pulled out her IV, and she stated she was far too busy to walk around with an IV in her arm. Well, apparently Lorraine has spent thousands of dollars, if not more, over the last few weeks on some sort of mail-order antioxidant business. She's quite obsessed about the business. She's got some grandiose ideas about the business and about her own business expertise. She was extremely talkative. She had pressured speech, racing thoughts, very easily distracted. She reports she only needs 2 or 3 hours of sleep per night for the last few weeks. She made numerous comments about spending money, some sexual contacts that she's making through the business. My assessment is that she's in the middle of a manic episode. I'm very concerned about her well-being and her lack of insight. I would appreciate any insights you have on the matter. I'm wondering what you would think about sending in a mental health crisis intervention team nurse to pay her a visit. Yes. Okay, okay.
Mania is essentially the up phase of a condition called manic depression. In these 2 vignettes, the first vignette was student nurse struggling, trying to maintain control of a home visit with a person experiencing mania. In the second vignette, the nurse making the home visit, the more expert or proficient version, is using a lot more advanced skills and more of her confidence to maintain control over this difficult home visit. You'll also notice she makes an important follow-up telephone call after the home visit with Mrs. Kitchener.